Something which is going to be playing in more cinemas, undoubtedly, is Jane Got a Gun, which is a Western based on a screenplay that was on the black. Do you know what the blacklist is?
These are the screenplays that are very good but haven't been made.
Exactly. So Brian Duffield's screenplay was on the blacklist in 2011, and it was originally going to be directed.
I'll just say how amazed I am that you asked me a question and I knew the answer.
I know. I was so thrown that I just ignored the fact that you knew the answer and carried straight on because I actually don't have any way of responding to you knowing the answer.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so
Won't happen again.
So Lynn Ramsey was going to direct. Lynn Ramsey, the director of We Need to Talk About Kevin, who is one of my favourite filmmakers. You remember she came on the programme?
I do.
And was such a fabulous guest. Anyway, she was slated to direct. Then on the first day of production, she left, as indeed did Jude Law. Michael Fassbender had originally been in one role. He had to move on. Then Jude Law left because he had signed on to make a movie with Lynn Ramsey. So when he left, he was Bradley Cooper stepped into the field, and then Bradley T. Cooper, as we like to refer to him, he left as well. So he has now been replaced by Ewan McGregor. The story essentially is Jane, Natalie Portman, is the woman whose husband brings the threat of home invasion to her door after a run-in with the Bishop boys. She then has to turn to Joel Edgerton to ask for help. Meanwhile, Ewan McGregor, who is now in the role of the key Bishop boy, is looking for her and indeed her husband. Here's a clip.
Found Fitcham all shot up in an alley. Half his head on one side, half his head on another. A man and woman seen leaving Lullaby for the blood drive.
And the girl fit the description of our old friend Jane. Now, Fitcham's demise brings Hammond's tally to 5 dead men, disregarding his heroics at the whorehouse we all remember. Now, we'll spread out across this valley here. Question every living soul. We will turn over every rock until that snake slithers out into sight.
It's a strange thing with Jane Got a Gun because on the one hand there are things that I really want to like about it. I think Natalie Portman's performance is pretty solid. I think it has a sort of sturdily handsome sense, and the fact that it's it's a Western but with a modern twist, telling a story from a perspective that perhaps you wouldn't expect. However, I have to say that having now finally arrived on our screens, directed by Gavin O'Connor, the most remarkable thing about it is just how unremarkable it is. And you and I were talking about this earlier on because you'd read a review in which it said, considering the incredibly chaotic production history that it had, what's surprising is that it's actually okay, and it is okay. It's okay, but it's no more than that. And the fact of the matter is that Lynn Ramsey would never have helmed a film that was unremarkable. I mean, whether you love or hate her work, it's distinctive. It has a flavour. It has a texture. It has a personality. And in the case of this, as we have it now, it just feels far more workaday, although the narrative is perhaps doing something which is kind of adventurous in terms of its gender roles, although it's actually not quite as adventurous as it used to be. The screenplay has, of course, been rewritten several times since it was on that original blacklist. I just spent a lot of it thinking, this is fine, but I want this to be so much more than fine. What I want it to be is fascinating and intriguing and exciting and strange and all those things that I'm sure Lynn Ramsey would have brought to it. I mean, the problem is you never know what any film would have. Who knows what Jodorowsky would have made of Dune? Who knows what David Cronenberg would have made of Star Wars? David Cronenberg would have made of Basic Instinct 2, which he did actually. There was a period when Basic Instinct 2 was nearly a Cronenberg film. I mean, he was nearly going to be the director of it because the guy, his producer, came to him and said, look, read this script. He said, I know it's Basic Instinct 2, but just imagine it's not Basic Instinct 2. Imagine it's something else. So,
it's got David Morrissey in it.
That's got David Morrissey in it, yeah. So, who knows? But I can guarantee you that whatever it was that Lynn Ramsey would have done with it, I wouldn't have been using the word ordinary. And in the case of Jane Got a Gun, it's fine. It's very ordinary.